Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. I hope y'all are doing good. I hope you're staying cool, drinking plenty of fluids. And I don't know about y'all, but Oklahoma is in the middle of a heat wave. And we have extreme temperatures. We're under heat advisories. Temperatures 100, 101, 102. And the humidity is horrible. Heat indexes of 112 and higher are expected this week, and it's just a dangerous situation for a lot of people. Here on Cedar Creek, we're just trying to get our chores done in the morning, and if I have anything left in the late afternoon, late evening time, I don't lock my birds up until I just have to, because the two different kinds of quail that I have are inside a barn. And I try not to lock them down for safety until late evening time, because I don't want them to get too hot. There is an exhaust fan that's blowing the exhaust, or pulling the heat out, and so that makes me feel a little bit better about that. But everything is just, you know, all of the animals during the day are finding places to just be still and be in the shade. And nothing's really active, from the cows down to the littlest of the chickens. Everything is just kind of during the day staying calm and cool, or trying to stay cool and not active. Foxy and Sadie stay under the porch during the day. It's nice, and you know, it's dirt under there, so it's cooler, and they dig down a little bit and open up, and I have a fan under there for them. And Foxy takes advantage of it. They did have a swimming pool. I know some of you have been concerned about that, and I went and bought them a pool, and Sadie chewed it up within a week's time. And so now they have like a rubberized water trough, and they have two smaller ones that I keep filled, and then I have a bigger one. And the reason I have the bigger one is because that's what they use for a pool. And they get in it, and they get out, and Foxy and his fur sucks all the water up, and I go back out and fill the pool, the little thing back up. And so that's just some of the ways that they're staying cool. And I'm amazed at the animals and how God put in them enough smarts to know what to do. Now there's instances when they're in pens and cages and tied up and stuff, and they can't get away. But in nature, they know what to do. They get in and they try to find water source, and they, do the best that they can. Howie and I both grew up in rural areas, and so we weren't exposed to a lot of the effects. Howie and I both grew up in rural areas. I grew up in rural Arkansas, Benton County, Arkansas. Now, some of you that know that area know that it's not that way now. They've had a growth boom and a population explosion, and industry is there. When you drive through now, places that were once big, beautiful farms are now subdivisions. And I don't get home very often to Arkansas, and things have really changed, and a lot of stuff I don't even recognize anymore. They have really, really grown. But when I grew up there, it was very rural. This is rural. Where Howie grew up, right here. He was raised in a little house just right here at the edge of our property, right beside the garden was their house. And it's not standing anymore, but that's where he started out, right there, and then he finished up right here on the farm. And so this area is still rural. We pastored churches in rural Missouri, and we have just always enjoyed a quiet country life. We weren't raised we didn't see the things that you hear about on the news. We didn't see the homeless population. We didn't see those folks that were drug addicted and having to live on the streets. We didn't see people living in their automobiles. We heard about it, we saw it on television, but we didn't personally see it. But now that's creeping in slowly but surely to these rural areas, and you're beginning to see things that we just never dreamed that we would see. Now you can go to Sallisaw, Muskogee. You don't even have to go. Used to, you'd have to go to Tulsa or to Fort Smith or to Fayetteville to see those kind of things, to see persons really struggling. And now, not so much. You can go to Sallisaw, you can go to Muskogee and see them. You see them on the corners and the stop signs, little lots in the shopping centers, holding up their signs that they need help, that they need food, that they need, they need a hand. And your heart goes out to them because you understand that they have a need. But so many people have been burned because people saw an opportunity to take advantage of others by pretending to be in need. If you've ever really been taken advantage of, it aggravates you because that's in the back of your head that you're not going to be taken advantage of again. You're not going to lose your money. You're not going to be hurt. You're not going to feel like a dummy, because sometimes it can make you feel bad, make you feel like you just absolutely were foolish to fall for some of this stuff. And it's a real shame, because no doubt there are people that are in need. There are people that really need help. So that got me to thinking, because everywhere you go you see people that are needing help. And I thought about that, taken advantage of. Just the other day, and you might have heard about it if you're from northern Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, or eastern Oklahoma, you probably heard it on your local news. Just the other day, there was a couple of guys, young guys, that were helping this man, and he ended up shooting both of them. They were helping him on the side of the road, helping him, and he shot both of them and just left them for dead. Now, they were found, and they've been hospitalized, and I haven't heard in a few days how they're doing, but they've had to undergo surgeries, both of them. The one guy was shot in the torso, the other one was shot in the face, and he just left them. And that also makes you concerned about helping others when they were taken advantage of in that way, trying to help and gunned down. You know, people will play on your sympathy. If you are a kind person, you're a sympathetic person, there are people that prey on people just like you. Not P-R-A-Y, but P-R-E-Y. They prey on you. They are like jackals. They're like, these buzzards and stuff, vultures that we have out here that are looking for scrap, that are looking for something to take advantage of, a free and easy meal. There's people that are like that, and they will take advantage of. And they'll play on your sympathies. One reason I know that is because I'm a pastor's wife. And one place that I have seen people take opportunity and take advantage of people is in the church. And you would be surprised how many people will stop by and they will sit in your parking lot until the church service is over, and they'll come in with a sob story, and they have some good ones, and they will play on your sympathy. They can turn the tears on, and they can really give you a story, and where the church will take up a special offering for them, and they'll promise, oh, we're going to come here to church. We're just so thankful that we found people that really care, and we'll be back. We'll be back. And you never see them again until the next time that it's your church's turn for them to take advantage of. There are people that makes it a job, so to speak, to go from church to church, and they'll hit 2 or 3 or 4 churches in one day, getting there and getting money from them. One time when we pastored a church in Missouri, the church had a program set up, because where our church was located, we was right on the road that led to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. So we were in a rural area, but we were in a high traffic area of people going to Fort Leonard Wood. And so we would have people stop all the time. These people wouldn't care a bit to interrupt your church service. They would just walk in and they would demand, I'm in need, you're a church, it's your job to do this. And so our church set up a policy. We went to the local gas station and we went to the local grocery store. The local gas station, a fund was set up that they could go and they could get gas in their vehicle. We would give them vouchers. The grocery, same thing. We had a voucher. This is what they could get. We didn't let them get cigarettes or alcohol, but they could buy groceries, a certain amount of groceries, and with that voucher, they couldn't just go back and go back and go back and just say, hey, I'm from this church, and they said they actually had to have a voucher. And so we would have people come in, and they would, here are the stories. Story number 1, there's an emergency happen, and I've got to get to so-and-so, and I don't have gas, and I need gas. So that's what we would do. We'd say, well, you go down to the whatever gas station it was, and give them this voucher, and they'll let you have this much gas. If they were a person that really was in need, they would take the voucher, and they would go get their gas. But you wouldn't believe how many people would tell us, well, I've got gas right now, but I don't have enough to get to where I'm going. I really need the money. And then, of course, I'm sure we had some people that were kind of embarrassed that they, wasn't going to get any money, so they took the voucher and didn't say anything, and they didn't ever go get the gas. So we would have that. We'd also have them come in and say, they needed groceries, my kids are hungry, I can't, and a lot of churches, instead of having vouchers, they'll have a food pantry, and they'll just go fix them a box of groceries or a bag of groceries, and that's great. That's good too, because you take care of it right there. But our church didn't have that set up. They just had the vouchers so the people could go and get their own groceries, and we would have people that would take the voucher and they would go get the groceries. But we had others that would refuse the grocery. They wanted the money instead. And so that's how our church chose to deal with it, is we didn't give any cash. We gave the vouchers. And they either went and used the voucher or they didn't. So we just kind of, that's the way that we chose to deal with that situation. But we had this lady come in one time, and the church service had already started, and we had, at the back of the sanctuary, we had those swinging doors. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, they were full-length doors, but you would push and go through the door. So the sanctuary was separate from the foyer, and the deacons heard this lady making a commotion back in the back of the foyer, and what she had done was she was caught just making this big ruckus. So Howie, being the pastor, he went back there, and then a couple of his deacons. He had a pretty good and strong deacon board, about 4 or 5, men, and some of the deacons went back there with him into the foyer, and she was just raising all kinds of Cain. You have all your people in the sanctuary, and they're hearing this ruckus going on back there because she was loud and she was insistent. She didn't want the vouchers, she wanted money, and this was a church, and we should be willing to help, and just on and on and on. So they just had to just absolutely just hold their ground with her and say, this is what we can do. And she left angry. She was mad. But and we just come to the conclusion that the money was what she wanted. And you would be surprised how many people go from church to church to church to take advantage that way. In our lifetime, we've had people that not only have done the church that way, but they've done us that way individually. They know, people that are bent that way, people that are willing to take advantage will know you and will mark you as one of those individuals. They'll mark you as somebody that is kind-hearted, and they'll play upon you. And I have to say that we've been burnt several times because they took advantage, and we went ahead and gave. But God blessed us anyways, even though the person or persons did these things. God still blessed us. Did we feel silly? Yeah, we felt silly. We learned our lesson. We tried not to make it something that would keep us from helping in the future. But there are some that you have to learn. And you see this repeat pattern with them. They may go 6 months, and here they are again. Down on their luck. They need this, they need that. And you give them suggestions. We've even had people that we've said, hey, so this place is hiring, this place will help you, and they always have an excuse. And that's kind of how you know sometimes that a person is just out to take advantage when they won't do anything to help themselves. They are just out for themselves and out to profit off of those that are willing to work. Now in the marketplace, we see that prices are raising on all kinds of products. That we hear warnings all the time in the news now. In the last week, weeks, I've heard coffee's going to be higher. Corn prices are going to be higher, and I know corn prices are going to be higher because I'm already paying more for animal feed. And sometimes the prices of goods go up because there's been a crop failure. There's been natural disasters that have ruined crops. Weather patterns have happened. There's not been enough rain. There's been too much rain. There's been, whatever it happens to be. Those things happen, and we understand that. And although it hurts the pocketbook, that there had to be some adjustments because of something that we didn't have any control of. There are plenty of reasons for price hikes that are legitimate reasons. But there are times when people are out to make a profit because they see opportunity. Remember last year when the toilet paper went sky high? There was a panic because of the sickness from last year. There was a panic, and people went to buying. And I kind of sat back and watched people, in their thinking, their choices of buying things. You see people at the stores that were just running in there with their mask on and fighting and shuffling each other in the crowds, and you would thought it was Black Friday and that they were trying to get some kind of Christmas deal. They were there to get toilet paper. And you'd see people that just mounded their carts over with toilet paper. And you'd see other people that got there to buy their package of toilet paper, and there was no toilet paper left. Don't be one of those that takes advantage and grabs all this stuff and then turns around and tries to make profit off of somebody else's need. I really think in the long run, it may seem to you that you made a profit off of that, but in the long run, I feel like that'll come back to you. You're not going to win doing that. It's hard sometimes to imagine that the price hikes on some things when people will tell you that they work at that company and the warehouses are full of the products. And this last year we seen them blame it on the trucking industry, saying, well, the truckers aren't doing this or doing that. But you know, my sister's husband is a trucker. They have their own trucking company, and they're doing all they can to get stuff from point A to point B. And it boils down in some instances to the companies just trying to make an extra profit off of needs. There's a difference when they take opportunity to make profit, when the want is there, the desire is there. People want these things so bad that they'll give any kind of amount of money for those things because they want it. It's also horrible when they do that when people need it. They need the product. Do you need a whole cart full of the product at one time? No. No. You were taking advantage too. Those kind of things causes panic. And people that weren't panicking. You saw people begin to panic over toilet paper, that they couldn't get a package of toilet paper. And it wasn't because they didn't have any toilet paper at his home. It was because they seen other people buying carts and carts of toilet paper, and they were like, all the toilet paper is going to be gone, so I've got to run out and get toilet paper. I've got to put on my mask and go fight all these other people that, you know, in the midst of this sickness, and go try to get my toilet paper. And so they were taken advantage of because the market was driving them to go get that toilet paper. That fear was driving them. Don't be led by fear. Don't be taken advantage of by fear. Fear will make you do things, buy things, act a certain way. If you will take the time now, if you haven't started yet, start now and prepare. Like I told you last week, make a list of what you have. Make a list of how much you use, how often you use it, and know what you'll need for the foreseeable future. And then budget accordingly and begin to purchase those things and put them back. You know how much toilet paper your family needs. You know how much peanut butter your family needs, how much, whatever the product is, you know how much your family needs. If you'll prepare now, then the next big thing that comes along that everybody is scared to death that they're going to run out of, you will not be taken advantage of. You'll not be standing in that line elbowing everybody else to get your package of toilet paper. You'll be thankful that you can rest easy at home. You don't have to get out in the crowds. You don't have to act ugly. You don't have to risk your life. Now, isn't it silly that this day and age in the United States of America that we would risk our life to go out and get a roll of toilet paper from the store because we see everybody else panicking over it, and so the fear is there for us and we got to go get it? Don't do that to yourself. Don't let yourself be taken advantage of. Prepare. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. None of us do. We can make speculations, and we all teach on YouTube the different things that can happen. Danny and Wanda down at Deep South Homestead call it life-changing events. And we all know that we experience these things. I experienced it with the loss of Howie. It doesn't always have to be a natural disaster. It doesn't always have to be a pandemic. It doesn't always have to be a job loss. It might be something minor to the rest of the world, but major to you. But if you've made preparation, you won't be taken advantage of. You won't. You will be able to step back, take a breath, and say, okay, and establish a game plan. If you've prepared, if you make sure that you are looking well to the ways of your household, you won't fall victim in a lot of ways to being taken advantage of. Now your family and your friends, those around you, hopefully you're surrounded by people that are like-minded. But a lot of us have family members that think we're nuts. That look at our pantries and look at our stores and look at our gardens and the canning that we're doing, and they absolutely think that we have lost our minds. That why in the world are they doing that when they could just go down to the store and they could buy whatever it is, and they can go next week and they can buy it again. And right now that's true. But we've been in situations before, and I'm sure you have too, where the power was out because of the weather or whatever, and you go to buy something and they can't even ring up your bill of groceries and let you pay for it because their cash registers don't work. You know, I have always been afraid of being out. I love snow if you can stay at home and enjoy the snow. But I don't like driving in the snow. I don't like even riding in a vehicle with snow on the roads. I just don't like it. But I have always found it amazing that snow has been forecasted, and what does people do? We got to go get milk and bread and this and that and this and that. Well, milk and bread are perishable, so I can understand people not having it. But, you know, if you didn't have to get those things, think how much better it would be you not even having to get out and stress about being out there and, pardon me, guys, stressing about being out on those roads and facing maybe higher prices, or maybe getting there to the store and it not even being on the shelf. Our family members and our friends, it's sad to say that there are people in our families and there are friends of ours that'll take advantage of us. And it's not always in money. It's not always in your food supply. Sometimes they take advantage of you being there. They take advantage of your kindness. They need your help, and they know that you'll be there to help them. You know, maybe they need to have help moving their furniture, or, you know, whatever it is that they need. Maybe they need a vehicle worked on, or with Howie, there were people, not necessarily family members, but there were people that would take advantage of his skills with heating and air conditioning and appliances. Now, Howie and Blade, Howie always felt like the Lord would lead him, and there were a lot of times that there were people that Howie wouldn't even charge to fix an appliance, or charge up an AC unit with Freon, or whatever it was, you know, change out a control board or whatever. If he got there and the Lord laid it on his heart that this person needed an extra hand, Howie usually would listen to that leading, and he wouldn't charge the person. But there were people that would take advantage of that. In the end, they would always call him, and they would always present a story so that he wouldn't charge. You'll find that in your life too. If you have a skill, if you have a strong back, if you're able to do, you know, you have something that you're able to do, you'll find that people will take advantage. Now, you have to be careful, and you can't always be unwilling to help others. That's not what this is about at all. You have to be kind-hearted. You have to be willing to help. But you have to also be wise enough to know when somebody is taking advantage of you. I read this quote, and I'm going to read it to you because I know I'll mess it up. It says, there comes a time when you need to stop crossing oceans for people who wouldn't jump a puddle for you. There are people that you are their safe zone. You are there when they're in need. If a need arises, they call you. If they need help, they call you. If they need money, they call you. They need prayer, they call you. But that's about it. Only when you're in need. There's a fine line to walk, because we, as Christians, we always want to be willing to help others. We don't want to be so hard-hearted and so, you know, just so set that people are going to do us wrong that we're unwilling to help. Because we want to be like the Good Samaritan. We want to step in and help when people need help. There will always be those that have their hand out. And you'll probably always be one that's willing to help, always willing to lend a helping hand. But also remember that you're preparing for the future, for whatever's coming down the pike for your family. So you may ask yourself, well, you know, you presented these things about being taken advantage of, and we're nice people, we're Christian people, we're, you know, we're giving people. So what do we do? How do we give out of the kindness of our heart? How are we moved with compassion on other people, but yet not be taken advantage of? Well, we set boundaries, and we know this is what I'm willing to do, and because of the way the world is today, because of the way people are today, out of an abundance of caution, I do some things, and other things I just won't do. As a widow, as a woman, I don't pick people up like hitchhikers, or I just don't. But I also allow myself to be led by the Spirit. That if I'm moved to help somebody, I try to do that. In your families, I feel like it's going to be important to work together. Families, your little community of friends that you have, to work together to get jobs done, to, you know, work in your gardens. That's what we're doing here. We're working together. There's no way I could do all the work that I have to do without my family members here helping. There's just no way. You know, we're working together to put up produce. We're working together with the animals to do all those things. And so it's not one-sided on anything. We are working as a team. Okay, so you may ask, Josie, how do we keep from getting taken advantage of? Well, I would say in the markets, prepare. Have your pantry stocked with the things that your family needs, the things that your family uses. Know what it is that you have need of, and work towards those things. Set some goals and know that these are the things, these are the items that you need. Don't be driven by the market. Don't let fear and panic push you to buy. You know, you're hearing things in the news now about possible shortages. This is an example of the coffee. I'm a coffee drinker, and I love to have my coffee in the morning. Sometimes late in the evening I like to have a cup of coffee. So I know coffee is something that I want to have, something that I like, something that I enjoy. So wouldn't it make sense that I have a few extra canisters or whatever kind of coffee product that you use? Wouldn't it make sense to you to have a few extra canisters of coffee on your shelf, instead of when you've been warned all this time that they believe there's coffee shortages because of whatever the problems are with the coffee beans, or with shipping, or whatever the problem may be? Wouldn't it be nicer and easier and more calming to know you've got your coffee than to wait until the coffee shortage shows up at the store, or coffee prices, whichever way it's going to go? The coffee may be there, but the price may be sky high. Wouldn't it be better to get it now in a relaxed state than to be in line fighting over a canister of coffee like people were fighting over that toilet paper? So pay attention to what you're hearing around you. And just, you know, last year or the year before last, the stories come out about they thought there might be some shortages with pumpkin come fall. Okay, so pick you up some pumpkin. You don't have to go buy 50 cans of pumpkin if you're not going to use 50 cans of pumpkin. If you know you're going to need 3 or 4 cans of pumpkin for the holiday season, go get your pumpkin. put it on the shelf. You've got it. You're not stressed about it. You're not worried about it. Same thing, of course, we talked about the toilet paper. We've talked about the coffee. There was a story about cocoa powder going high. Well, I just went and got a couple more things of cocoa, put it on my shelf. Don't let yourself be taken advantage of and be driven by fear and panic buying. Number one, stock your shelf. Set boundaries. Know this is what I'm willing to give. This is what I can give. This is what I can do. And beyond that, you know, sometimes you have to be willing to say, I'll be praying for you. That isn't meant to come across as being harsh. But if you'll set those boundaries, those persons will learn. It's kind of like when you've heard the saying, I'll break them from sucking eggs. You know, nobody wants to have your dogs sucking your eggs, finding the eggs the chickens have laid out. You know, sometimes your chickens, they'll lay eggs and have a nest of eggs that's not in the hen house in the nest. They'll make their own nest. Well, you don't want your dogs going around and finding your eggs and sucking the eggs. And so that's a big saying at our house growing up, was that they would break them from sucking eggs. Well, that's what you got to do, is you got to break that person from sucking eggs. Break them from thinking that you are their personal bank or you're their personal grocery store. It's not that you won't ever lend a hand, but set some boundaries. And we've had to do that before. We've had family members that have called, and they've called, and they've called, and you know, we helped. But then there come a time that we had to say, well, you know, I really can't do anything, and I'll be, you know, and then it got to where they realized that we weren't always going to be able to help them. So set some boundaries. Stock so that there's no panic buying. Set some boundaries so that you're not taken advantage of. Work together and put up your produce. You know, we have garden coming on, and we have certain things that we grow, certain things that we're able to grow. There's other things. This year we had crop failure on. We had crop failure on our cabbage. I showed you the cabbage in some of our garden videos where it done really good. Then it got buggy with all those rains. We treated it, and it came back, and it just never really, just didn't pan out. And so, you know, if we're going to make anything homemade, for instance, if we decided to make sauerkraut, I'm going to have to buy my cabbage this year. And we, you know, we can go to the, we have a fruit stand in Muskogee, and we have the farmers markets that we can go to and take advantage of getting things. And so do that, you know, do everything that you can to try to make ends meet. Make it where you won't be taken advantage of. Get yourself prepared. Look now, you know, they're starting to put stuff on clearance now because school is going to be back in session, and so school clothes are coming out, backpacks, shoes, all that kind of stuff. Well, there's going to be things, they're going to have big sales. So take opportunity, if you have a little bit of extra money, on some of those sales to buy ahead on things. Buy a size bigger for your children. Hopefully not for yourselves. I don't want to have to buy a size bigger for myself, but for your children. Think about where you think your kids will be next year, or where you'll be next year on clothing and things that they're going to be putting on sale. Summer clothes, flip-flops, sunscreen, beach towels. I have gotten really nice beach towels before for $2 or $3 on clearance, and I bought them. Going into the school season, the fall season, they had those beach towels on sale, and you betcha I grabbed them up because, you know, I don't care if I don't go to the beach. I can dry off on a beach towel for $3, and so take advantage in a good way of those things. Your grocery store or your big box stores or wherever you shop will put things on sale to get you into the store. Now, if you can learn to spot those things that are on sale. Loss leaders is what they call them. If you can spot those things that are on sale and make a list, don't let yourself be taken advantage of and pull you into the store with these loss leaders, and then you spend a whole lot of money on things that you didn't need or didn't want. You take advantage by buying the loss leaders. For example, usually when school's getting ready to start, they start coming out with all kinds of things for packing kids' lunches. So you'll usually see peanut butter, jelly, lunch bags, Ziploc bags, little, chips, cookies, all kinds of things that you would think to put in kids' lunches. So if those are some of the things that you know that you're going to need, take advantage of that sale. If your grocery store has grape jelly on sale, well then go in and buy that grape jelly if you need the grape jelly and if your family likes the grape jelly. One way that you can take advantage of that sale is not to go in and just buy 1 or 2 jars. Now don't go in and clear the shelf off, but you say, okay, now's the opportunity for me to buy 5 or 6 jars of grape jelly, and that's going to get me 6 months down the road with sandwiches or whatever you're going to use that grape jelly for. And so I'm going to buy 5, put them on the shelf, and now I don't have to worry until the next time that they put grape jelly on sale. So learn to take advantage of your sales. Buy those things that are on sale. Buy clearance items. Look, don't walk right past the clearance thinking, well, it's all outdated or it's damaged boxes. Look at the sale items. Look at them. There are things that they put on clearance that are still good things. We are so fickle on the things that we like in the United States, and we change our minds on things that we bypass things because it's marked clearance. Don't do that. You can find really good deals. Take advantage of those things. Take advantage of the sales. Take advantage of help. Now, don't take advantage of your helpers, but take advantage of the help. If there's people that are offering to work together to get the jobs done, well, many hands make light work. So if people are willing to work together to put up your produce, to get projects done, if quilting, whatever the project may be, you might have something that needs done and people are willing to help. Take advantage of the help. Take advantage of someone saying, hey, I want to come and help you build fence. Okay? But you don't have to take advantage of it and it be a bad thing. Work together. Love one another. Help one another. If they help you can, share in the bounty. That's one way to get things done. Remember the little red hen. That's one of my favorite stories of childhood. The little red hen, she found that piece of corn or wheat, whichever. I think it was wheat. And oh, she was so excited. And she goes through the whole process of planting that and, watering it and doing all the things and growing it up and then harvesting it. And all through there, she was asking who would help her, who would help her. Nobody would help her. Not me, the dog, all the different animals. Nobody was willing to help. Until all the way at the end of the process when she got that loaf of bread made. And you know how good a fresh loaf of bread smells coming out of the oven. You slather that homemade butter on it and it's delicious. And when she got that bread made, the process, the work was done, and it was time to sit down and enjoy the bounty. Who wanted to help her eat the bread? Everybody. They were going to take advantage of her, not willing to help her in any of this processes until it was time to enjoy the end result. Be like the little red hen. Be even when you don't have help. Do your work. Fill your pantry. Look well to the ways of your household, but don't be taken advantage of. Love those around you. Love them and pray for them, but don't let them use you. Remember that quote I said earlier. Quit what? Swimming the ocean for people. Quit crossing the ocean for people that won't jump a puddle for you. Well, I hope you guys got something out of my rambling today. I hope you stay cool, that you were able to get out of the heat. Stay refreshed. Drink lots of water. And guys, I love you. This is Josie. I really do love you. And until next time, we're gone.